friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Felicia and today we are going to be going into the land of dinosaurs. So back in the 80s and the 90s, dinosaurs were an iconic trend. They started out small with Land Before Time and it eventually grew into what we know as like the Jurassic Park, the Barney, the dinosaur show. Like it was a whole thing. They loved the dinosaur. When Jurassic Park came out, because dinosaurs were so big at that point, we had never seen animatronics in this way. We had seen them with the Never-Ending Story. That was so iconic. Like the animatronics in that, or like, I don't know if I said Dark Crystal, we had only ever seen it in that perspective. So to then see Jurassic Park, which was also about dinosaurs, was like a huge thing. And even when things would come out like Toy Story later, like 4 or 5 years later, they still had dinosaurs in the shows because it was so iconic. It would be a sin to not have a dinosaur in it. That brings me to one of the most iconic stories of my childhood. In 1994 was a year after Jurassic Park had come out, and it was the summer. I was 8 years old and I was at Camp Potawatomi. Camp Potawatomi was a day camp. I was pretty opposed as a child to be away from home. I did not like being away from home. To be away from home was a big deal. The last night of Camp Potawatomi, we stayed the night and they were like, we're gonna go on a hike. We were hiking. It was around 11 at night and I remember that because I had a tiny Casio watch that I was like, I've never been up this late before, except for like maybe on New Year's. And we're hiking through the forest and we pass by a goat that's been tied up in the forest. And all the kids are like, what's going on? Why is there a goat tied up in the forest? Blah, 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 blah. And all the camp counselors are like, don't worry about it. You don't need to know about it. We keep hiking, and this hike was pretty long. It was probably a good 40 minutes when this occurred. And we're all walking, you know, decent speed. That suddenly we hear from a T-Rex. And the front of the line, I'm in the back of the line because I am a lollygagger. I like to just kind of wander. I'm not like on a mission type of walker. So the people up in the front turn around and start screaming. They've seen something happened, we're unsure, and they turn around just like running full force, screaming on the top of their lungs. I get pushed. And I remember falling and skinning my knee. And one of the camp counselors picked me up and we all start running because they're like feeding us into the frenzy. They're like, run for your lives. We're just like screaming. And we run past the goat again. Mind you, at this moment, there are sounds of T-Rex running next to us, which I didn't understand at the time how they did this, but now I do. But sounds of T-Rex running next to us. There's stomping and the floor is shaking, like the earth is shaking, but now I realize it was because of how many kids had actually like run for their lives, that it was creating that. And I'm looking and I'm running and I see everything shaking around me, and because there had to be at least 50 kids out there, and we're running past the goat. There's just like ketchup everywhere, and we're all just like hysterical. We're like screaming, their 3 kids are crying. It's so intense. And that was the first time I ever had extreme anxiety. I have fear for my life. That is what I'm feeling. So we're running, I'm having anxiety, I think I'm gonna die. We get back to our sleeping bags, which are outside. We don't even have tents because it's summer in the Bay Area, which is like nice, it's hot. So we're out there, and then all of us, they were like, okay, time for bed. And we're like, what? Like, everybody was so scared. And they even prefaced the night with like, we are not calling parents. If you are scared, please talk to your counselor. But unless something is like an emergency, we're not going to be calling parents. We all knew that that was not an option. So we had to just lay there in horror in our little sleeping bags, thinking we were going to be eaten. I finally passed out from pure exhaustion. And I remember waking up very shortly after, and then my mom was already there to pick me up. And I was like, thank God, I just want to go home. And I remember we had a lot to do the next day, and just being like, I am exhausted. And my mom's like, well, what happened? And I think I barely told her what happened because I didn't want to seem like a wimp. But I also was like, it was horrifying. Like, I was horrified. But yeah, I mean, that whole event, honestly, looking back as a kid, that, or like going to Jurassic Park, the ride at Universal Studios, were so iconic to my childhood that the passion I have with dinosaurs is deep. Like, I love what dinosaurs represents in me and what I saw it evolve as. Well, now having my own shop, I was like, I would love to always have just 2 dinosaur things in there, just because that brings me a lot of happiness. One of the things I want to put in there is a print and a t-shirt. When I look online for like a dinosaur t-shirt, they're all kind of the same. They're not really like something I would wear. And even with the t-shirt I have on right now, which is a dinosaur t-shirt, it is more of that old school like kind of vibe. So I wanted something that was a little bit more my jam. I also have a print that I screen printed, and that's gonna be a little intermission in the whole thing. Let's prep the artwork and take a look at the template we're going to send to the vendor who's printing this. We're going to drag and drop like we have in the past. We're going to image trace and expand the artwork. And then it's kind of up to you, since this has color in it, what the approach is onto coloring it. You could have done that in your iPad and done that on a separate layer and exported it separately. Image trace doesn't do a good job when you have color and black and white all together, so every color has to have its own layer. The other option is to select everything and then using the blob tool to color in the background. You can also do a live paint, or you can do what I'm showing you right here, which is what I did. I just clicked on what I wanted to be colored green, and then everything else just got deleted out. That to me seems to be the easiest or quickest. Then we're going to resize the artwork. We want to make sure that we're resizing it based off of medium, whether that's a medium men's, unisex, women's, kids. It needs to be a medium because that's kind of the middle road for the screen and the sizing. The screen they burn for you to print this is going to be covering sizes small to extra large, most likely. You need to ask your vendor what they do, but typically that is the middle road, so that's what's best to give them. You want to make sure that you notate the size of the actual graphic on this template. So on the template, have your logo, the date, what this is called, so when you're talking to a vendor, you know what they're referencing. Have the size of the shirt and then the height and the width of the actual graphic. For colors, you're going to want to put Pantone coded. That is the main color system that is used for printing graphics on apparel. If you are wanting a specific t-shirt color, you want to call out a TCX Pantone color. That is very important. That is the main go-to. You can also just ask the vendor what they have available. For the mock-up, I use Pixel Sauce. You always want to use the t-shirt that you're actually ordering from the vendor. Hi friends, and we are back for a final reveal. So a couple things about the t-shirt itself. It is LA Apparel. It is one of their more popular silhouettes. It is 100% US cotton, and it is cut and sewn in Los Angeles. So the shirt actually just so happens to be 100% made in the US. Which honestly, to me, that's what I strive for, just because the fashion industry tends to be a high pollutant industry, in case you didn't know. I specifically really like this silhouette. I actually owned shirts of this that were just blanks because I like how high the collar is. I like the length of the sleeve, and I like how it's boxy, but it's not baggy to where it looks like it's just like hanging on you. The graphic is also really big. So I picked this specific silhouette because it's a 6.5 ounce. There's a little bit of weight to it, and it can really handle this kind of large graphic. The other thing is that I made sure to include a lot of white in this, and because this was going to be so big, having more of the actual t-shirt allows the graphic to breathe on the wearer, because this much ink can cause heat to get trapped, and then you end up feeling really hot in these type of shirts. So the key is to keep a lot of white throughout the graphic. Okay, so last thing is, I know this was a very talking heavy video. 2 weeks from now is not going to be the case. I made something that I have been wanting to make my whole life, and it turned out so good. Not to toot my own horn, but toot toot. Can't wait for you guys to see it. I wish I could post it tomorrow, but I need to like calm down. Okay, so I will see you in 2 weeks. Thank you so much for joining me here in the studio today and taking all the time to watch the full video. I really do appreciate it. You have no idea how much it means to me. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye, friends!